Alright, so I want to talk about my one of the worst fractures I've encountered as a child or teenager. I think I was a teen, preteen, teen, something like that. Anyways, so I broke 3 bones in one sitting, in one session. Okay, I broke my left arm and I broke both of my femurs. Yeah, my femurs, the thigh bone, which is one of the hardest bones to break in your body, right? So with that being said, just imagine how excruciating the pain was for me, right? But I'll get into that. So me and my brother were heading to my grandparents' house, to our grandparents' house, and we were gonna, uh, take a stroll there. No car. We were gonna walk there completely. Well, me will, because I'm a wheelchair user, and he was skating during that time. So I was following him. We were like, at least like 3 to 5 minutes out from my grandparents' house, from our grandparents' house, and there was a pothole on the ground in the street. So I was willing in the street because some of the sidewalks didn't have an enter. You know what I mean? Like a driveway enter, so I could just get on the sidewalk. So I had to go around the sidewalk in order to find the driveway in order to get up onto the sidewalk, right? So I had to enter the street, and which I had no problem doing so, but there was a pothole and there was cracks and big potholes and cracks and the gutter lines. So, and I was pretty inexperienced with popping wheelies and going over obstacles. So I was kind of like sketchy, but then again, I thought I had it. So I told my brother, asked, he was kind of like 10 feet above me, and or not above, but north of me, and he asked if I needed help. I'm like, no, I got it, right? So I went to try to pop a wheelie over this pothole and over these gutter lines, but I don't know what happened because it happened so fast. I ended up blacking out, and when I blacked out, I hit the floor, okay? And I don't know how I broke my left arm and my 2 legs in one and at once. I have no idea how, but I didn't realize. So I'll get into that. So when I fell, my brother was like, "Where you at?" Like, because he was like, in front of me. So he looked behind me. He was like, "Oh snap!" So he started running after me, and I woke up like because I blacked out. Like, I guess I knew I was gonna fall. So as a defensive mechanism, I guess, my body to protect myself. So I blacked out and I woke up like instantly, like a second later. And then I'm like, I can't get up. And he was like, let me help you up. I'm like, okay. So he tried to help me up, and I was feeling weird. Like, things felt weird. Like, I knew my left arm was broken. And I told him, like, there's no way I'm going to get up. There's no way you can pick me up because I'm hurt. I'm injured. He's like, do you want me to call your mom or our mom? I was like, yeah. I'm like, do you have your cell phone on you? He's like, no. I'm like, well, yeah, find someone nearby, bro, because we're near like a lot of shops, a car wash and stuff like that. So I told him, just find someone nearby. I don't care who it is. Stop being shy and go grab that phone, go ask for her phone and call mom. So that's what he did. And people saw me on the floor in the street, and some people from the barber shop, from the shop, people from driving got out and started, to attend me, to take care of me. And they were like, what do you need? What's wrong with you? What happened? And I'm like, I fell. Just call my mom. I have a broken arm. Okay. So we got a hold of my mom, our mom, and my mom said, okay, well, we need to pick you up and take you to the hospital. So allow the people to pick you up. I'm like, well, they don't know what they're doing, so I want you here so, I'm not over here like in more in pain or cause any further, injuries. So she ended up coming, which like literally a minute up the street by driving, and she gets there. She was like, okay, what's wrong? I told her I had a broken arm. So she was like, okay, let's carry you up and put you in the car. I'm like, all right. So I was there, as they were trying to pick me up from the bottom, from my legs, from my butt, and mobilizing my arm. That's the simplest way to pick someone up. But as soon as they try to lift me up, I felt all the pressure and the gravity playing the role like bringing my limbs down, like my arms and my legs. Since they were broken, the gravity was playing a huge role on just like bringing my limbs down because they were broken. They had no strength to withstand the gravity or to like stay in place. So they were just like dangling, and I was in excruciating pain. And I told them, like, people who were trying to carry me, I'm like, there's no way you guys can pick me up. There's absolutely no way. I think I broke 2 of my legs too. They're like, oh my goodness, what happened? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. But right now, I have a broken left arm and I have 2 broken femurs, which I didn't know what bones were broken in my legs, but I knew my legs were broken. And they're like, okay, well, we need to get you into the hospital. So basically, you just need to suck it up and go from there. And I was like, okay, I guess, you know, I have to go to the hospital. I just can't sit here. So they're like, on 3. And we did it on 3. I think I was just so in shock and just like trying to avoid the pain. Like, I just said, fuck it, basically. So they got me in the car. We ended up going to the hospital. It was a hell drive getting there because the freeways were bumpy, and I'm over like jumping up and down while my arms were dangling and my legs were shaking. So that was a horrible experience getting there. And then getting there, I think it was the weekend, so the doctor offices weren't open, and we had to go through the hospital, like the emergency room type shit. And we couldn't go through the entrance, so the hospital people told my mother to drive through the back where the ambulance are. So we did that, and they tried to carry me out the thing. I'm like, there is no way I could go in my wheelchair and go all the way to the fucking waiting room and sit in there. So they're like, okay, maybe the gurney. I'm like, yeah, that's the best bet. So they get the gurney to put me on, and they get me there. They get me to the room, and I can't really remember much because it was so long time ago. But they get me to the waiting room, and they end up calling my doctor. I believe they did x-rays first, and then they end up calling my doctor. And they wanted to put a splint or something like that. Not a cast, because they needed a doctor or someone more professional. I don't know. But anyways, so they wanted to put me in splint. And I told them, like, what is that? That is not going to mobilize my bones. Like, I might as well like hold my arms and my legs in place rather than having that shit just like dangling, because a splint doesn't really keep your shit in place, and it'll kind of like if you jerk around, and it has more freedom to move, and that's not a good thing when you're trying to avoid pain. So they ended up calling my doctor. My doctor came through. He was like, you need surgery. So I got surgery done, and I don't know if I got surgery done like right then and there or the next day, or we waited until like the week, when the week started, like Monday, because I believe it was like either a Saturday or Sunday. And so yeah, so I ended up breaking 2 of my femurs and my left arm, my humerus, and I don't remember the recovery process. I don't. That's pretty weird for me to not remember, but all I know is that it was one of the most horrifying, most painful experiences I've dealt with in my younger years, you know. And of course I got plenty of more, but that was one of my worst stories that I remember. And I'm trying to remember, I think I had a spica cast along with a left arm cast. Spica cast is when cast is from like it goes from right here like to your mid stomach, right? You have a cast because it keeps your hips mobilized and your legs mobilized, so everything is nice and aligned, right? So I don't move around. If I do move around, everything still will be in line. So a spica cast will go from your stomach all the way down to your toes. So I had a cast from my toes all the way up to my stomach along with that. So that was pretty bad. But after that, you know, everything was cool. I was pretty terrified after that. As in, I was terrified of the streets. I wasn't trusting myself no more, and it took a long time for me to trust myself and to trust the streets again. But eventually, I got over that fear, and ever since then, I have fallen several times, but thank God I haven't encountered any type of injury since then when I fell off my chair. And that's due to me from working out, meaning during that time when I did break those 2 bones in my left arm, I wasn't working out then, so I was very delicate and fragile. But as I got older, I started working out, improving my body and whatnot. I've fallen, and I didn't experience any fractures. So, yeah, thank goodness for that, and thank goodness that it made me a stronger person. So, but if you guys have any like horrifying, terrible, excruciating pain type stories, let me know. I would love to hear them.